Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my Linux discussion video. Now, this is just a kind of basic kind of concept kind of one, and I kind of want it to be more of a kind of conversation, dialogue thing kind of going on. You've seen that I haven't been happy with Microsoft and how they've been doing stuff with Xbox for a while now and shifting over to PC. Of course, Microsoft, being the bag of assholes that they are, is also doing shit that I'm not liking on the PC front. So I have been looking into switching over to Linux, mainly because of Microsoft's shit that's going on with AI and shoving that in everything, AI coding shit and making other shit sometimes break or whatnot. I've been lucky that most of the updates haven't done any kind of weird shit, except mainly with like monitor kind of stuff. But I don't like what they're doing with their OS and how they're pretty much running their business kind of crazily. Now, the thing is, most stuff runs on Windows, which sucks. And the thing is, I have been looking into Linux to kind of like shift that over. Now, my workflow on YouTube isn't really that much of an issue. I've already shifted to doing OBS for recording. I've got GIMP for editing thumbnails now. I've shifted from using Logitech kind of capture technology. I shifted from Microsoft Movie Maker 2012 to Kdenlive. As you've seen, I've kind of switched some stuff up, so that's not that much of an issue. I'm fine with kind of learning that kind of stuff out on that. My biggest kind of sticking point is games. Now, you're probably going to be like, he's going to go into anti-cheat. Not necessarily. Any kind of Halo ones that I've already got, I've seen pretty much works on there. It's not really the anti-cheat kind of ones. I've even backed off of multiplayer because of how corporations have turned the kind of multiplayer and even kind of social media as turned into fucking competitive multiplayer itself, of how they kind of like game their kind of shit as well. It's like, I'm not that into it. Mine's more kind of certain kind of games, and I'm going to get into it more of what was kind of going on here, because there's this one game that's really kind of pivotal to me and my family as our kind of gaming journey, Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. Now, you're going to be like, that's an old fucking ass game. I'm like, yes it is. And we played it on PC. We kind of got ourselves into an asshole kind of fucked up corner, where when we were playing it back in the old days, we had to utilize these kind of cheats because the final boss was kind of fucking our shit up. But I was able to get it on Steam. Now, my biggest kind of pain point is that I shifted my stuff from Xbox to PC. I didn't have all the games. I've still got my Xbox, so I could, until Microsoft nukes the goddamn thing, and play them. So, waiting for certain kind of remasters or whatnot. Now, my whole kind of PC strategy on the gaming front is, I'm open to other kind of launchers as well, GOG and all that, but normally it's Steam because they're the biggest marketplace at the moment. I will buy it, I will test, I do a test case scenario where I do cutscenes, some kind of gameplay, what kind of goes on, and then I play it on an SSD first, then I port it over to a hard disk to see if same thing. I find cutscene kind of thing, play kind of thing, and go on from there. The thing is, I was looking at certain kind of stuff. Steam's Steam Deck Verified didn't show that a good amount of the games, and even certain kind of Christmas ones that I gotten this year, were not verified for Steam Deck. And since Steam Deck is pretty much based on, at this point, an Arch Linux version operating system of SteamOS, I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit weirdy, because they use Proton and maybe in certain cases Wine for like Windows compatibility, mainly Proton within Steam to kind of do compatibility layers. And I had seen some weird kind of issues going on with Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine on ProtonDB, i.e. that you can't save or load. Like, yeah, you can technically play the game, but you have to play it in one shot. And I'm like, this is kind of a big one that I like and that my mom likes. and I do family sharing with her, so that way she's got access to games and everything like that. And I would like to be able to play it, and I would like her to have the ability to play it as well. So I decided to kind of look around and wanted to test some Linux distribution kind of stuff out. Researching that has been one of the biggest kind of pains possible. Mainly because there's a lot of stuff out there, there's a lot of different distributions, and I was going back and forth between every kind of thing. The biggest kind of barrier to entry is trying to find a reliable search. You pretty much have to use Reddit for certain kind of things, and then you have to find certain kind of discussion forums on certain kind of distros. It is a pain in the ass. Now, that is not really Linux's fault. This has been the culmination of a lot of kind of shit, also compounded about by AI. It's like, rah! So I was going to first start with Pop! OS. They had the release of Cosmic, but the thing is they had support for NVIDIA drivers, because I've learned that NVIDIA plays stupid shit with Linux distributions. You have to get the proprietary drivers, which kind of can make some fucked up kind of shit going on. So I didn't know if that could also work in the effect of what was kind of going on with the Indie one. So I was going to test that shit out. Whereas AMD doesn't really have that issue. I have an NVIDIA graphics card, so I had to watch out for that. So that's why I landed on trying to do Pop! OS first. See how that kind of works out. Trying to figure out how to do checksum, and what was kind of going on with that is like, okay, this is kind of weird. And then having to turn off secure boot, I'm like, all right. So I had made like a bootable flash drive. I tried to like boot into the live environment just to even kind of fuck around with it, see what was kind of going on. And I got no signals from my monitors. And that was just like, okay. Because I got a dual monitor setup. Well, dual TV setup. I've got a TV here for when I'm sitting here and doing my shit, and then I've got my my usual TV, which is what I use for my console gaming. And what I do is like, okay, work, play, work and play. So that's how my kind of setup is, and how I kind of want to do this stuff. Now I understand that HDMI also has kind of issues, but that's I have that factored in consideration. So I was like, alright, if there was some other kind of thing, I kind of would have stuck around with trying to fuck with it, but I was kind of leery, and I'm like, what the fuck? So then I felt kind of stuck, and I'm like, what am I going to kind of look into? And then I looked and hit on Fedora. Now, you're probably like, whoa. So you were going from stable to kind of like Fedora? That's going to be a kind of a little weird fucker for you, isn't it? And it's like, yes it is. I landed on Fedora to try next because they have the Fedora Media Writer, which made installation a little bit more simple. You download that. You're able to utilize that to download and install and make the bootable drive. You don't have to do the checksum, the integrities kind of stuff. And then it's like, all right, you got your live USB. So I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on. Live USB worked. I didn't really have any problems with the monitors at first. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's kind of going on here. I decided to fuck around with the KD Plasma one, and I'm like, oh, okay, this does some stuff like Windows. I like how it kind of works out. Let's see what's going on here. So I was also trying to follow certain kind of stuff that I was going with a certain YouTuber, Linux Next. Now, evidently, there's some changes that have been going on because I was trying to look into the third-party repositories, trying to use the GUI for installing native stuff for Fedora and all that. It also did some weird shit that it would turn off my Bluetooth, which also affected my Windows, where I would have to unplug the PC to get the Windows drivers to get back to work for the Bluetooth. But that was after I got it installed. What I did was I installed it onto a USB drive. So I had my live bootable one, and then I got a bigger thumb drive to handle the system, just to have a thing to fuck around with. So I've got it in, I've installed it, I'm like, alright, let's kind of see what's going on here. I did an update, and it borked it. I I did. It was not no signal, but it was black screen on both of my things, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. This isn't good. And I just did an update through the GUI store. So now, you can also go at me and be like, okay, you shouldn't have done that. You should have done it through the terminal. It's like, okay, cool. So I blew that off. I was like, oh, that wasn't really cool. But then I decided to install it again. I got an update that went further and actually updated the things. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I'm fucking around with it more as an installed one on the USB drive. So then I still have the repository installed, but then I looked through the GUI store and I couldn't find the drivers for NVIDIA. I couldn't find the native. It was only just showing me Flatpaks. I'm like, alright, what? I don't know what's kind of going on here. And trying to find stuff. I don't have a centralized location for certain kind of things. Now, that's also to other things as well. But this has more of a thing. I wasn't seeing anything on the Fedora discussions, even on the Reddit at the moment, until I was like going a little bit further. I don't know if it was because of like the Plasma update that was fucking up the desktop environment, or a Fedora update that had fucked it up. It's like, okay, but I was still on there. I used the terminal to install Steam. There were certain kind of things that kind of like did some weird, not weird stuff. It just looked strange, but Steam installed. I was able to log in and everything. Now, at this point, I do not have the proprietary drivers. I don't know if that's could be an effect, but I was able to play Indie, but it had the issue where I could bring up the save and load menu, but I couldn't see. It was a white thing. I was like, okay, I don't know if it's because of the game or because of the drivers. And I also do have Secure Boot turned on. I didn't disable Secure Boot for this one. I don't know if that would lead to any kind of issues. If you know, discuss with me. That's fine. So after that, I'm like, eh. But then I decided to kind of fuck around and see what was kind of going on if the same issue was with the GNOME one. That I just got as far with the live USB because I did not like GNOME's interface. I still think there was something kind of going on with the repositories as well that you would still have to kind of work around in the terminal for that, but I just didn't like GNOME. So I was like, okay. I was thinking of maybe trying Linux Mint, but I liked being able to just get the shit with the Fedora media writer and just make your shit and do your shit. So I don't know. Like, my thing is, if I could figure out how to make that game work and most of my games work, which most of them are single player, if anything, most of and anything would have any kind of co-op or whatnot, like Borderlands or Halos, and I've heard that Halos work there, like the Master Chief Collection and Halo Infinite, though maybe some kind of weird issues and all that. I'm open to it, but I've already come from losing games from shifting from Xbox to PC, and I would prefer not to have that kind of even be more compounded on with shifting on Linux. If that means I have to wait for a better distribution or one for better compatibility to come up, that's alright. I'm patient on that kind of stuff. And I'm alright with kind of mucking around and screwing with certain kind of stuff because I've got certain things that I'll have a better kind of chance of messing about with them, with certain kind of externals that I'll actually be able to put on and essentially have like dual boot scenarios where I just fuck around with the kind of distribution as well. Because I was thinking of going with like Linux Mint or one kind of Debian based one because I would prefer stability and everything kind of going on with that and good drivers that would actually work out. I was looking at Arch, but I'm like, I don't want to. I just want my computer to work. I don't mind doing stuff for certain kind of troubleshooting on a certain kind of level, but I don't want to have to like completely and utterly maintain it, and that if I make some kind of error mistake, I could like destroy the fucking shit out of it. That's not for me. I want to do stuff with my computer, mainly do my games, and mainly have the games that I have that already work on Windows work on Linux. I know that's a kind of big ask, but that's the basic kind of ask. I've already moved to most kind of open source software utilizing for my YouTube fucking around. And I would like something that would also be able to be worked with with my parents, so that way they've got a better kind of thing, and they can also not have to worry about AI and can still play their games as well. Uh, my dad mainly is more focused on GOG with certain kind of Star Trek games, whereas my mom's more on Steam with certain things as for her kind of gaming. So if I can get something that works for most of us, that is what my kind of goal is. So even though I've got the beefier kind of stuff going on, I don't mind older drivers for stability. And Fedora just worked with its kind of like ease of installation for me. And most of the stuff that I've had issue with is stuff that I'm like, okay, I could try and figure out what's kind of going on with the Bluetooth or whatnot. But my biggest stymie was I want this game to work and it's not working, and I don't know why it's not working. But it's an old ass fucking game that probably not a lot of people are playing or even know what the fuck I'm talking about. So there's probably not going to be a lot of resources on that, and instead I would probably have to fuck with it or find the most random ass fucking fan that has fucked with it to know what they're kind of doing to kind of fix or know what they had to do it. Now, I would prefer not to have to go into the game's file systems and like fuck around with that kind of shit. That's kind of a level where I could do it, but I'm not comfortable doing it. If that makes sense, where it's like if I have to start going and really kind of like configuring with it, I'm afraid I'm gonna bork it, kill it, and fucking destroy it and not be able to play it or whatnot. That's just how I view it, and I'm like, I don't mind doing certain kind of things, but if it like nukes it or nukes the PC, that's where I'm like, I don't know if I want to go that far into it. And I thought Fedora was a kind of middle ground, but we'll see. Like, I don't mind like discussing this kind of stuff and learning this kind of stuff, but the thing is, I kind of want the balance. I don't mind having control of my PC, but if I have to keep tinkering with it, if I have to tinker with it to get it to work, to then get to a position to see if I can get a thing like a game to kind of work, to then have to see if I need to tinker with that even kind of further. It's kind of Russian nesting doll kind of thing where it's like, fuck. Like, it's either go with all those kind of things or somehow try and learn some kind of way to rip out and do some strange shit with Windows, which sounds just as much work as well. Trust me, I get it. Like, if it's not one thing, it's like 37 fucking things popping out, and I'm like, god damn it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get into PC gaming. Yeah, we're gonna shove AI in everything and have AI jack up the price of fucking everything. I'm like, yeah. Ain't that a bitch? And I'm not adverse to learning new workflows and new things. I've actually really liked figuring out how to do Kdenlive with like my editing. Now, when I say editing, I just do like the barest minimum because I don't like to do too much. If that makes sense. It's mainly the game stuff, and I get that that's on Proton and trying to make certain kind of things work, and older games have a harder time with that, so I get that with it. But there's certain games that I could do without, but that's not one of them. That's like a core memory kind of one for us, that it's like, oh cool, and it works on my Windows. Like, I don't have that issue with like the saving stuff. Shit, we were playing it like last year at certain kind of parts just to like fuck around with it. Yeah. So that's kind of like the end and the beginning. Like, that's kind of where I'll like leave off. This isn't really like an ended kind of one. This is more open-ended. I mean, I just started seeing the YouTube algorithm, of course, to kind of see what's kind of going on with Linux, and of course it kind of starts feeding it against Windows and everything. But I'm staying on Windows at the moment, but I definitely want to experiment and look around and see what's going on with Linux, and if I can get stuff that kind of works out for kind of like my use cases and my parents' use cases, that would be really fucking cool. So, that's my kind of stuff going on with this discussion so far. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Any kind of conversations any kind of helpful tips or whatnot will be definitely helpful. So, also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.